Today, Indiana's Republican Governor Mike Braun called a special legislative session to consider redrawing the state's congressional map, caving to a demand from Donald Trump. Over in Illinois, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries met with state officials, urging them to change their congressional map to counter GOP efforts. But tonight, the focus is on Virginia's House of Delegates, where state Democrats reconvened a short time ago for a special session in hopes of redrawing their map. Joining us now, first on MSNBC, is Don Scott, the Democratic Speaker of Virginia's House of Delegates.
Speaker Scott, thank you for joining us tonight. Can we just start with this effort? One, how would you describe it? And two, there are a lot of questions from folks as they were talking about this today, saying that no one had seen the text of the proposal a couple hours ago prior to the start of the session, and that you all were insisting that you were not getting rid of the bipartisan redistricting commission, but this was a special, narrow case, and that is why you all were taking this up. Can you respond to those claims and just bring us up to speed?
First of all, Simone, thank you so much and good to see you again. I think the last time I saw you were at the White House and I think you was getting your shimmy on. But I just want to thank you so much for having me on this evening. You know, I hope my mother isn't watching, but I'm like pissed that we're here right now. And I hope the whole country is. The unprecedented gerrymandering that the Republicans are doing at the behest of Donald Trump has put us all in this position where we cannot continue to follow the normal rules of engagement. And when you see what North Carolina and Missouri and now Indiana and Texas have done, we have to take a look at what our options are. And what this opportunity does in Virginia, it simply allows us to take a look at what our options are. In Virginia, the process, we have to have an election in between. We have to come back and have another vote on the constitutional amendment again. So it's a longer process in Virginia. So for us to be able to maintain the option to be able to respond to the unprecedented power grab from Republicans, we have to do it now. We have an amendment in place. We have some language that we continue to work on, that we have it in a good place now. We'll introduce that language for everybody to take a look at. But at the end of the day, the voters will make the decision. In Virginia, this constitutional amendment, we vote on it in the House and the Senate. Then we vote on it again after the election, next session with no changes in the language. And then it goes to the people. So ultimately, the people will have the final say. And I've never been afraid of the people. And so I think we have an opportunity with those folks to do that. And I feel very confident that once voters understand the power grab that the Republicans have made in North Carolina, our neighbor, in Texas, Missouri, and now in Indiana, they'll feel like we have to consider some options to push back. We cannot continue to do business as usual while Republicans go through this unprecedented power grab.
I have one follow-up question, Speaker Scott. Are you saying that would this be enacted to be able to affect the 2026 race?
It could be. And that's what we're going to take a look at. I expect that we will put language in place that we could impact the 2026 or the 2028 election. But that is not as important as understanding that only gives us an option. We'd have to do it again after the election in January. That's the way the Virginia Constitution works. And real quick, just to address one of the questions that you brought up, this will in no way change the Independent Redistricting Commission beyond this one time, this one extraordinary time that we have to deal with what the Republicans are doing in the country, across the country. This gives us a one time to do this, and then it sunsets. We'll never be able to do it again, and we'll go back. As far as the state maps, this does not benefit us. It doesn't benefit the House of Delegates or the state Senate. We don't benefit from this. Is just the congressional races, and it'll just be this one time during this period of time.
So, Mr. Speaker, we are in this unprecedented time because Republicans have put us in this unprecedented time by the actions instructed to them by the President of the United States. So, but let me help me understand, because the House comes back for a special session today to advance a plan, as you just laid out, to redraw the state's congressional maps for just this very finite period of time that you just described. And yet the governor seems to be a little outdone by this. And that somehow this is an aberration. This is so unprecedented and unusual. I'm confused, sir, because the governor and I share the same party. I was very clear about what they were doing in Texas. That's the aberration. That's the unusual. That's the extraordinary that brings us to what you started today in Virginia. So help us understand contextually what all the Republicans in Virginia are so upset about.
Yeah, I don't understand it. You know, I was an ag major. I went to Texas A&M, get them Aggies, and I was talking that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And so what I'm finding out is that they've done something in Texas already. They did something in North Carolina. They did it in 9 days, and just the legislature did it. In Virginia, the process is much more convoluted. It takes a lot longer. It's a lot more stopgaps in place. There's a lot more protection in place. All we can do is begin the conversation. We don't even get to draw the maps yet. All we get to do is say we would like to bring a referendum to the people, and we have to bring that referendum to the people. And once the people decide, then we'd be allowed to draw some maps and pass some maps that would help redistrict Virginia. But that's a long, long ways off. That's 3 or 4 steps. First step, preserve our option to see what the rest of the country does. If they continue to overreach, they continue to do a power grab at Donald Trump's behest, then we have no choice but to take action. We cannot continue to be bullied by Donald Trump and the Republicans and not respond. You know, that's not, that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Sooner or later, you got to push back against the bully on the block. And this is our opportunity to have a conversation with the Commonwealth of Virginia and the people of Virginia to say, do you want your vote and your power to be diluted by what other states are doing? And I believe the answer will be for most Virginians that it won't happen. And you'll see that reflected next Tuesday in the election. I think that the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia are going to trust Abigail Spanberger. They're going to trust Jay Jones. They're going to trust Ghazala Hashmi, and they're going to trust all 100 members of the House of Delegates who are on the ballot, and they're going to trust and send us back with a Democratic majority next Tuesday. And I'm excited to be in this position.
Speaker Scott, we've got less than a minute left. Do you think, though, that beginning this conversation about redistricting 8 days away from a statewide race changes the contours of that race?
Well, I hope that people understand that we are doing what we can to preserve our democracy, to doing what we can to only give ourselves an option. I don't believe it will have an impact on the race because what we're actually doing is just a procedural process to give us the option in January. We may not do anything in January. We may do something, but this is only a procedural step that has to be done to be able to preserve our opportunities to do something in January. Not doing anything would really be a mistake and would embolden Republicans continue to do this across the country unchecked. And this is a way that we can provide a check and balance to what they've been able to do here so far in Texas and recently in North Carolina and Missouri. And now the president of the United States is bullying the governor in Indiana, even though they said they didn't have the votes to go ahead and go special session and try to do it again. So we have to have a check and balance, and it's going to be up to states like Virginia and others to push back.